My Hero Academia, the final episode. No idea what to expect. This is grown Uraraka? This looks like a dream. Oh, man. Wow. Yeah, this is gonna be there, right? This is always gonna be there.
Hi, Ochako.
Hi. Maybe give Deku a call. Working late again. Oh, right, she devoted her life to this, right? That's the career path she went, which of course couldn't be any more perfect, but it all stems from Toga.
The same
More.
dream again.
Okay, so it's a recurring nightmare or dream. Oh, I get the intro one more time. So this is different. Looks like sort of a look back. Wow. It'll be so interesting if this episode takes place in the future, their adult lives. Something very extra emotional about it. Maybe it's just me because it's the final episode, but wow. Oh, it's Shigaraki reflected in his cape. Yeah, I mean, you imagine that Uraraka's not the only one, right? That's going to live inside of Deku, too. There's this great scene in Schindler's List where after years of saving countless lives at great personal risk and expense, he has this breakdown and he's like, I could have done more. And I think there's sort of no end to it in kind of a haunting way. Like, I think it's hard to hold permanently the significance of people and their lives and the impact you can have for the good. But then in the rare moments where you can see it and feel it in its poignancy, it's like, if only I had followed that always, if only I had been aware of that earlier or better or didn't have selfish things in the way. You know, it's like you're thinking so far ahead to these grand things, and then you maybe find out that something small you're doing means a lot to someone or means a lot to certain people. You realize there are consequences to what you're doing. It's like, man, I could have done it so much better. In sort of the themes about caring and nihilism, I think it's often confused that the bleakness of life is the heavy burden, but at this point I'm convinced it is the light of life that is the burden because of what it demands, right? It's like trying to be All Might or trying to be Deku. So like, it's no surprise that, you know, as great and triumphant as they were, that it wouldn't necessarily be so clean for Deku and Uraraka. Now, I think the solution there maybe is something like, you want to do what you can for now, and there's nothing you can do about the past. And also blaming yourself or hating yourself for your failures in itself isn't actually doing anything. All you can do is hopefully use that energy and channel it into something that you actually can do that's good, which obviously Uraraka and Deku are going to be doing.
I'm glad you had the time to help me out. The kids are gonna be so excited.
Whoa, what a squad.
Are you sure?
Look who it is.
What if none of them
Comedy
care
hero.
that I'm here?
Wait, is that supposed to be a joke? Because I don't get it.
Not comedy hero.
Someone might look like they don't have any troubles when they're actually carrying heavy stuff deep down. It can be difficult to get them to open up to an adult.
I mean, man, when
met.
Uraraka says that, she really knows it. Man, the kids are going to go nuts for this.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It's fine.
It will be,
We've
but
got plenty of support staff backing
they'll
us up.
probably love it.
Everybody here is really passionate about our mission.
She loves it.
And if you want to see big returns, you gotta invest in the children.
You sound like a con artist.
That's great. That was such a roller coaster. We love profit, but not as much as we love the children. He also looks like he loves it.
Jeez, do you have any free time for yourself these days?
This is free time for herself these days. This is exactly what she wants to do. I was gonna say don't show them your butt, but here we are. What'd he say? Oh, it's peaches. Okay. Pretty sure this is illegal, but we're in a bold new world. Oh. Instantly on Uraraka's radar. It's okay, you can let it fly at a million speeches. Got him. Good job, buddy. Some great encouragement. You landed a blow on the number one hero. This is like not so great for kids, but sure. I'm actually, you know what? It's perfect for kids. This is exactly right for kids. Kids love butts. I mean, I think this kid is ready for hero licensing. If you can land a hit on Lemillion, who, you know, not the easiest to make contact with.
I love seeing them happy.
Oh yeah, this is a
best
day in their
part?
lives.
I do this for work.
She'd do it for free.
I have plenty of free time for myself.
I mean, I think if you're doing it right, it's not really a distinction, you know? There are a lot of kind of cliche aphorisms around this kind of stuff, right? Like if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. That's a lie. Like even if you're in a situation where you're doing exactly what you want to do, there's going to be work involved in it. You know, you're not going to like every element of it. It's going to be backbreaking. You're going to be tired at times. You're going to have to probably encounter people that maybe you wouldn't normally spend time with or encounter. You're going to pay a cost somewhere, but it's your life. And interestingly, I think it doesn't even necessarily have to be in terms of this like, well, I've always known I wanted to do this career and this is a passion of mine and it's so great I get to like earn money doing doing this. This is hard, but I think there's a deeper level in that in the spirit of the show of like probably everything that we do has significance somewhere. It means something to someone, and it's easy and tempting to write that off and see that there's a separation, right? Like this is my life and this is what I do, but maybe it's possible to find more in there, and maybe it's worth taking seriously. That's lifting the heaviest weight in the spirit of My Hero Academia. I've spoken about this before, but I had this experience when I first was teaching in Korea, because for me, teaching English was just a vehicle for me to live abroad. And there was like my free time abroad, and then, I got to do the work to stay here. But then like a coworker indirectly took me to task for that, where she's like, these are real kids with hopes and dreams, and like their parents love them, and their parents sacrifice to send them here so that they can learn this, so that they have better futures, right? That sort of demand, though, is hard. Put things in a different light, and like over the, I guess, 5 or so years I taught after that, I would say were responsible for some of like the greatest or most profound moments of joy in my life. And it sounds obvious, but I mean, I think sometimes it just takes reframing out of what is kind of a standard level of evaluation, right? It's like the thing for itself, because teaching English to kids, like it's not really that glamorous. It doesn't pay very well. Honestly, anyone can do it, but there's something really beautiful to be found there.
You've been dreaming about Himiko again?
Yeah, I think it's been on and off for about a month at this point, but I always forget the
Why
specifics.
now? Why is it coming back now in particular?
I promise it's not something I mean to do.
Maybe there's something with
Besides,
blood? I
that
don't know.
doctor I saw was the one you recommended.
I love that they're still so close.
Himiko's blood is what saved my life on the battlefield.
You're still connected by blood, maybe.
And you'd better try and remember what that dream was about.
Yeah.
Something's trying to get
Damn
out.
it.
Immediately, you know who it is.
We're all going to the same
Oh man, this is so
place.
cool. Look at them
And
driving.
Don't you wanna
Wow.
show off your fancy new ride?
You're only here because you said you'd harden and punch holes in the hood if I didn't give you a lift, you bastard!
He's still the same. He's an adult, but he's still the same. But it does feel different.
A better question is why the hell you even need a ride there? You that busy?
He wanted to hang out.
Fat says there's all kinds of stuff I'm not gonna learn until I'm looking after someone else.
This is true. Speaking of teaching, yeah.
People like Ida and Yaomomo are doing some incredible work on their own. That's mostly because they went indie earlier than me, though. They're pretty badass.
I hear you
Damn
got a
right.
ton of sidekick supply, Kachan, but they all ran from their interviews crying.
Shut your face!
That's tough. Yeah, like his standard. If you can pass Bakugo's standards, you've already made it. Like working for Bakugo will be harder than actual hero work. I also, for reasons I can't explain, I feel like he would be a great mentor. But wow, is that not for the faint of heart? It's weird. I feel like I'm watching something I'm not supposed to see. Like this is too cool. I sort of can't get over the fact that I'm seeing like Kirishima and Bakugo and Deku driving around in a car. It's so cool to see them as adults. I love their dynamic, that even though it's still similar, it feels so much more settled. It feels so comfortable. They actually feel like really close friends. I love that they're all still doing their best in hero work. It wasn't a one-off. It wasn't like we had that pinnacle moment and, now we can just sort of ride it for the rest of our lives. They actually deeply care about the work, the good they can do.
All the kids who watched your big fight with All For One applied because they thought you were this paragon of everything heroic.
They probably realized their mistake when you started screaming at them.
Deku taking shots.
I'm waiting for an applicant to say they want to surpass me. I'll hire him on the spot.
Yeah, that makes sense. There it is. Just incredibly high standard.
Hey, Teach.
Still got it.
You staying at UA?
That's right. I got permission to use the armor whenever I want to. Now I'm doing hero work on the side like Mr. Aizawa and our
Hero
other
work
teachers
on the
do.
side. Right.
2 different jobs, but they're both equally important to me.
That's such a Deku thing to
So,
say,
yeah.
and I love it.
My feelings haven't changed.
Interesting shot.
I've got my students, and I saved the day with you guys just like we used to. Life is great.
I'm so glad to hear
Thank
that.
you, Kachan. And you too, Kirishima.
Right, it was mostly financed by him, right? Bakugo's silent, speechless.
You've got to start thinking more highly of yourself and putting your own needs first.
Whoa!
If you
Wow.
don't, you'll miss out on something.
Huh?
That's very
That's
interesting coming from
coming
Bakugo.
from you.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that if everyone's special to you, nobody is.
What is happening?
Oh, that's a very interesting comment. Wow. So many great things about that scene. It's so right to me that he says he's just waiting for someone to say they want to surpass him. Just intuitively right away, I knew that the problem was that no one can meet his standards. Second, the fact that he's thinking about recruiting Deku is very humble for Bakugo and a real deep sign of, I was going to say love, but respect. Also, just the enduring friendship of Bakugo and Kirishima. Then there's that vague comment that's somewhere in the vicinity of the old saying, a friend to everyone is a friend to no one. If everyone is special to you, then no one is. Deku has always been self-sacrificial to a fault. Now, like, the case I would make for Deku is that that is for him, because that's just really deeply who he is. It's not an act. It's not like because he thinks that's what he has to do to get approval. He actually just really deeply cares about other people. And he, along with All Might, are just sort of at the top level of understanding beyond the abstraction of like, okay, I'm a human being with thoughts thoughts and feelings and value. And, I love people like my mom. Well, everyone in the world is somebody like me and my mom, at least to some degree, in their humanity, to the point where they actually can hold that space in feeling. It's not just a thought. And that is what leads them to act. But we're going into adulthood, right? And I think the important key there is that it has to be honest. Taking All Might as an example, right? All Might was a little bit beyond himself, let's say, to the point where he was destroying himself and there was actually maybe some harm being done, you could argue. Selfishness is a very real thing. Selfishness is not ideal. It's not selfishness to extend to yourself the humanity that you give to others. Personally, I connect to what Bakugo was saying, and if it were anyone else but Deku, I would be like, absolutely. If we're taking as the goal doing our best in life, in our own unique ways, giving our position and skills and abilities, ideally your position is so great, your feet are so solidified, that when you reach out a hand, you actually have the leverage and traction to pull someone up with you. It's interesting because actually I think this was my initial pushback against the idea that meddling is the essence of a hero. You have to really be equipped to meddle. But I get it. Deku's an adult. What about just Deku stuff? What is for Deku?
Let's have a toast to the new #2 hero, our star classmate from the UA Hero Corps.
Wow, he looks so adult. He looks like Endeavor.
Congrats!
Yeah, look at them. Surely this is the episode. This is the episode where we see Minetta's girlfriend, right? I love that they're celebrating this together too.
I know everyone's very busy.
Well, any excuse to party.
Man, they all look so adult.
An excuse, huh?
I didn't mean it like
It's
that.
really about
We're
our
super
drinking.
Proud of you, dude.
I don't think number 44 should bully number 2.
Let's not go down this road.
Look, we're on the board.
The charts have expanded and subdivided. Numbers don't mean as much as they did.
That makes sense, yeah.
Now they're factoring in things like philanthropic work, educating, and tackling societal issues.
We have the space for that, and that's a beautiful thing.
Show them
Look at him.
Numbers are hurtful.
Oh no.
Don't get too down on yourself. 108 is
Wow,
still
wow.
a
Just
respectable rank.
the appearances, just their adult forms. Wow. This is overwhelming. Look, we're on the board, Minetta's resume is something like 108 on the hero billboard, and also one of the heroes who was critical in the defeat of All for One. So, pretty great.
Most of you want the exposure. I can't relate.
Look at Invincible Girl at number 39.
I'm amazed our schedules lined up like this. It's a nice change of pace to see everybody letting loose.
It's a really nice change of pace to see everyone adult. It's so crazy. You know what? I kind of hate this episode because I'm realizing how well it would work to have an adult series. There's just still so much more that can be done. It just feels so great and so natural. This is not enough. It's just whetting my appetite.
And villain-based crime is dropping every year.
Though we do our part, crime is unyielding.
You can't get rid of it completely. And look, he's there too. Can't Stop Twinkling also there. I'm glad he made it. I'm glad he's still a part of their lives. Whoa, look at him. There he is. He looks great. Wow, still at number 6.
Lady.
Still at number 3. Damn.
Gang Orca. Come we
And number 4. Damn, they're still crushing it all these years later.
We fight in the hope that one day we won't be needed.
Wow, big aim.
An agency dared to ask that I be more fabulous. I am the darkness.
That's a mocktail, right?
I want to lay out the sauce. That is a really beautiful speech, and I think really important to the ideas of the show. This is an ideal, right? And so the fact that we're not at the perfect ideal should not be taken as failure by humanity or society. We will never be All Might. In fact, there sort of is no All Might in the way we think about becoming All Might. That turned out not to be totally true. The point is to get as close to the ideal as we possibly can. And the way that that probably works best, and I think one of the show's biggest points, is that we have to shoulder our own burdens to the best of our ability. And that is our responsibility, and that is our focus. What is the highest possible ideal you can see and imagine? And then, given what you are, how do you live in best accordance, in best pursuit of that as you possibly can? Without excuses, without cynicism, without hate, without capitulating to forces that do not want to see that happen, who are threatened by that, or who want to believe that the world is terrible and people are evil or a plague or whatever. But instead, to keep that fire burning, the ideal that you've seen, to be real, that you felt, even if it's just in a work of media like My Hero Academia, and to pursue that as an individual. And if everyone were to do that, even imperfectly, right? Like even just to make an attempt at that without outsourcing it, without willingly giving up any agency, that I think is probably the strongest, most resilient picture of society and humanity. It really is just our pursuit to do our best. And that in itself is worth it because that in itself is virtuous and beautiful. And while you can't and probably shouldn't force anyone into that, maybe the most natural, healthiest way there is just living by example, right? Like if you shoulder your burden really, really well and you live your life in a virtuous, beautiful, high-reaching way, in my estimation, you've already won. But that also ends up being your contribution to the solution. And it also is a refutation of the idea that the world is terrible and people are terrible and people are uncaring and life sucks and life has no meaning. If we live in the same world, but the world couldn't take that from me, well, then maybe there actually is something to believe in after all. So, you know, they're not going to rid evil. It's not like we're never going to need heroes or law enforcement or whatever. It's not like there will be some perfect utopian end to conflict, but the contributions of each of them are more powerful and more immense than they'll ever know. And it's just faith, right? You just have faith that you live that way long enough. You put yourself on arguably the more difficult side of belief and hope and carrying the heaviest weight you can find. Maybe it's not unrealistic to believe that that serves as an inspiration. And maybe we end up building some momentum. You know, maybe enough people doing it creates a tipping point. And arguably, non-cynically, though it's always easy to find examples of terrible things in the past and hate our ancestors, you can make a very compelling case, I think, that that is a torch that has been passed and the reason why we are still alive and exist to any capacity where we can have shows and have lofty ideas at all. And it's our responsibility to take that and hold that torch as best we can and pass it on to the next generation. There's also something so pure-hearted about the fact that them succeeding means they fade into obscurity.
I feel like I'm a player in some bigger story, one I didn't have control over. And all my accomplishments and struggles, even my desires, they feel like inevitabilities.
That's interesting.
That's why I've enrolled in a class that teaches you to make bowls and chopsticks in Ishikawa.
You what?
What? What is the connection there?
Soba would taste better eaten with tools I made myself.
The soba, right. Soba, rising. That's what this episode should have been called. All that other stuff, the whole journey, it led to this moment where we make soba pottery. I mean, okay. I think destiny is a very real thing, just not in as concrete a way as I think it's often represented. You have a journey laid out for you already. It's going to be a function of who you are, meaning just, you know, DNA and family and place of birth, and it's going to be about you rising to the maximum of your potential through the adversity of your weaknesses and your circumstantial challenges. It's not a blank slate, right? But the specifics are sort of up to you. I mean, you also could just like fail it, you know, like you just never address it and just be a total victim to whatever it was, right? Like for Todoroki, that would have been just becoming his father, or perhaps equally bad, living his whole life in opposition to his father, never learning to take a broader view and balance his selves and find the harmony of fire and ice, etc. It's also not like just one, right? I mean, there are many journeys you can have. I think one way to try to find that is just by listening to yourself and finding the things that really bother you, the things you are unsatisfied with about your life, the things that are really painful to look at, taking on the challenges of life, following your heart, as they say. I've long felt that you sort of can't get it wrong and you will hit that vein as long as you're always trying to progress and move forward. And as long as you're not trading your agency with excuses for why it's not possible for you to do anything or improve your station or whatever. Just any forward progress at all, like any sort of higher reaching thing that requires some sort of attention and focus, work and sacrifice will sort of open the floodgates to that eventually. And then in hindsight, it will look like destiny because it wasn't an accident that those are the things that called you and that those were the challenges that you had. It was very much grounded in the way you were born and who you are. About Todoroki, there would be something really great actually about him just having been so at peace with it. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna do pottery now.
They teaching you the Wajima lacquer method?
And Yamanaka style.
Why does he know so much about
private lessons?
Chopsticks and soba pottery?
Eating is something I find pleasure in.
Okay, that's great.
There's more to me. I have ambitions besides being a hero.
Look, man, follow that if that's your dream.
Soft on us?
No, I'm just trying to relax a little more.
I mean, there's something about that that's so beautiful and so cool. It's so freeing, right? It's kind of an option C for his character. Even based on what I was just saying, right? You can become Endeavor and go down that road, or you can live in opposition to Endeavor. But all of that is kind of framed in the assumption that he's got to be a hero because he's got these powers, right? But if you're truly free, then it can be any number of things. The concern that might arise hearing this from anyone else other than someone in this class is like, oh, the pottery thing is kind of like an evasion of the actual destiny, which is facing the issues with your father and heroism. But I mean, like, I don't know how you could face that any more than Todoroki has faced that. So, I mean, bro, you want to make lacquered chopsticks. I wish you all the best. Please make one for me. That's a cool key item. Todoroki's lacquered soba bowl.
You're a parasite, huh?
Wow, harsh. I mean, this also goes back to what Aku was saying to Deku about, you know, what about you?
Kinoko are an item now?
That's dangerous.
You rented the building next to Jiro for your agency, right?
It's not really a secret, right?
So when I saw there was a vacant space next door to her, how could I not take it?
Sure, whatever.
Inevitability.
What's going on, Deku? What are you working
on?
out?
The life I want, and I'm happier than I could have ever imagined.
I'm so happy to hear that, man.
Do your damn best.
But is there something else I've been overlooking?
Interesting. Well, there's Ochako. Yeah, there she is. Yeah, what about your heart? And this is when you realize?
Stolen vehicle in a
Party is canceled, and now they're gonna have more fun than they were before. Wow, this is incredible. This is a victory lap at this point, right? After all they've been through. Who would have the audacity to steal a car in this world now? Okay, you need help. You guys need help. Whoa. It feels like a little bit of a waste for these two scrubs, right? But, you know, go ahead and show off. Have some fun. Wow. Beautiful. It's beautiful. Because of everything behind it, not because of these scrubs. What were you thinking? It's embarrassing. The whole class together. I just love that Can't Stop Twinkling is there, honestly. I mean, I don't know. I have so many emotions right now. It's sort of overwhelming. There's no way I could ever possibly hope to contain all my feelings in one final episode for this show, which is sort of the challenge of it. How the hell are you supposed to send off a show like My Hero Academia? I mean, I love all of them. I love seeing them all together. They all look great. I mean, the character designs make the whole thing worth it just by itself. But also, I like that Can't Stop Twinkling is there. I like that he didn't disappear into obscurity and shame. He stuck to his decision not to graduate, and it led him down a different path, but it ended up leading him to the same place anyway, which is such a beautiful thing. Speaking of destiny and like multiple interpretations of it, I also like that they just came here to dunk on these two fools. Like there was no, what were you, I don't know. I sort of just feel embarrassed for them. Yeah, what the hell's wrong with you?
Random crimes like this are still a problem. Criminals can be so thoughtless.
At least nobody got hurt.
I guess things aren't as quiet as we thought they were.
Indeed.
A lot of it depends on your standard, right? Like, if your standard is perfection, then you're going to be disappointed. If your standard is like, man, what a chaotic world we live in, with all these incentives to do terrible things and with just decay and destruction as a part of existence, it's not humans' fault, right? Like, we were born into this universe with atrophy and limited resources, that anything good can exist at all, that we can have any semblance of structure in society whatsoever, that people cared enough to fight those battles over and over again to the point where we have this to stand on, that we've gotten so comfortable we have the luxury of like not respecting it, right? Like, what an accomplishment that is. We've done so well that we think it's a default. And we have this space to imagine utopia, which we then use as some sort of rubric to insinuate that we're failing somehow, or that we're terrible, or, you know, life is worthless. I think part of the My Hero Academia message is looking for the highest, right? Like looking for the top and trying to hold on to that, even though surprisingly it's painful. Like, as beautiful as it is, it's also painful. To that point I was making about like, I could have done more. But yeah, just try to appreciate it and do your best at it, I guess. It's also just like perfect timing, amazingly. Yet again, go figure, for the final episode. As I mentioned in the previous finale, I was expecting my first child, and as of last week, my son was born. And it's really amazing. Like, not to go the usual direction of it, of like, wow, life is so beautiful and precious. I mean, just seeing how an infant behaves, I'm kind of just amazed that humanity survived this long. Like, they're just such irrational creatures. But, you know, here we are. And that took a lot of effort and grit and work and love and belief. Maybe more than love, maybe most of all, just duty. One idea that came out of the show for me is that one of the beliefs I was holding for a long time that I now think to be mistaken is that life is about me. Without getting too far out there, I think better than that at least is life is for humanity. And that means not just humanity now, but humanity in the future. And my place here is temporary. Just trying to like push that all the way out, right? Trying to imagine what that means, you know, the life of every human who will ever exist, and, you know, whatever, if anything, is beyond humanity. The value that so far outstrips me and, you know, my material pleasures within reason, right? Because we've seen this problem with All Might. It matters less sort of like what my mood is at the moment, or if I am quote unquote happy, right? Like happiness being put forth as the highest ideal of life, a pleasurable emotion. There's maybe something beyond that, which is like, I don't really know how to word it, but something like service or honor, responsibility. But what's really cool is I think, though it's hard to live there is a place where those two meet, right? There is a really nice place if you can keep your senses honed just long enough to like capture it. Being aligned with that thing ends up just being the most pleasurable thing. I think that in some way kind of explains where a lot of these characters are. Deku's so happy, and the heroes are so happy, feeling like they've done their work as a hero, which is not initially, at least, for their pleasure. In fact, it's very uncomfortable and painful. They obviously go too far on the other extreme, where, you know, you got to take care of yourself so you're strong enough that when you reach out a hand, you have enough strength to pull someone up.
The night is ending earlier than I expected.
There's always next time.
Yeah, I paid the tab at the restaurant.
That was nice of you.
Our plan was to split the bill.
I don't think any of us really needs to worry about money.
You better have a way to get home. I've got an early morning since Edshot is coming back.
I'll be fine.
Man, what is our relationship like with Edshot?
Room for me? Shotgun!
The debt to Edshot that Bakugo and the whole world owes.
I'll see ya.
Yeah, come speak at the school again.
This isn't goodbye, is it?
Mr. Aizawa wants to do another lesson on poor communication.
Perfect. You're the perfect man for the job. Thanks for thinking of me.
What I'm saying is that if everyone's special to you, nobody is.
Friend to everyone is a friend to no one.
Good night.
There's something, yeah, this is it. This is what it is.
Hope you sleep well.
There's someone who means a lot to us and for whom we mean a lot.
Since we weren't sitting close together, we didn't really get to
Sort of
talk.
awkward, yeah.
We do see each other at work sometimes.
Oh,
so
great. Congratulations.
We respected each other's goals and smiled together, which is such a privilege, honestly. I shouldn't ask for more.
It's okay to ask for more. It's okay to want more.
Still,
Oh, she's turning
I
around. He's
want
gonna be
more.
there.
I wish we could have talked a little.
You're still here! Hold on!
They're in the same place at the same time. It's perfect.
I obviously care about every one of them. And I thought that would be enough for me, but the thing is, today, for some reason,
Man, the thought of Bakugo being the ultimate wingman is just so great.
I was just hoping I'd get a chance to talk to you more. I felt that way
I can't believe we're
a
here.
lot.
Wow, mutual.
I did whatever I
The
wanted.
feeling
in
is
life.
mutual.
And I hope you know that I love you, Ochako.
Toga also a wing girl.
I want to push you to love too.
It's okay for both of you to be a little bit more selfish. Right, the two most unselfish people, least selfish people.
Is that cool?
Oh, that's
Is what cool?
what I mean.
You didn't ask anything, but
Okay then.
man, if anyone deserved like to
I
do
feel
something
the
for themselves, you know? There it is. Aw. I'm glad that this happened. It felt kind of unresolved. Aw, thanks, Toga. I'm so glad to know that they're just living well. They're just living their lives. I love these different shades of Bakugo. Like, I don't know how they do it. They've done it the whole show. He's consistently Bakugo, but yet he just feels different over time. It's so precise. I don't even know what I'm picking up on, right? But like seeing Bakugo in the car with friends, it's like, man, this is really normal and nice and warm, even though he's screaming at them. But he just feels like rounded out. You know, he feels like a normal human being, even if his mannerisms are strange. Wow. Man, they made me live through this ending twice. The show had twice died 2 deaths. But no, I'm really glad. I'm glad for this episode. I had this feeling like it wasn't over, you know, because we had this final episode, but now that's gone. And the final episode has come and went. Post-credit scene. Damn it. I can't ask for any more though. That was, I don't know what I expected, but it was very different, but better than I thought it would be. It was more than I thought. I mean, it was an extended epilogue, right? But it felt unlike anything I've ever seen, where I feel like they're real and they're alive and they live. Seeing them as adults was really special. I mean, we were stuck with them in the same year, right? For what? 10 years or something of real life. Now to flash forward like this and see them in their mature, glorious, beautiful selves, still doing their thing and still together, it's so perfect. It's also so well earned, you know, like I said, I think in the last episode, it earns it because it doesn't immediately go to this nice, happy place where everyone lives happily ever after. It establishes, you know, the war is over, but the work continues, because the show in its way is very much about don't shy away from reality and don't sugarcoat it. Don't live in a fantasized version of the world. That's a false idol. That's not really your friend. That glosses over the things that are going wrong, which are the things that probably deserve the most attention and where you're likely the most needed if, you know, you're trying to do things that are heroic. So the aftermath of the Shigaraki fight wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. You know, there was some pathos there, but that's our task. And, you know, we'll shoulder that burden. So given that, we can lean into these epilogues with their graduation and their adult lives where it feels like what they would be in adulthood. Nothing is thrown out. They carry everything that they've been through and everything we've seen them learn to this day. And, you know, a lot of that is audience knowledge, right, and projection, but it really comes through in such a beautiful way. I also am glad that the Deku Uraraka thing got its closure. That's such a long time coming. One of my favorite things of the show is their turning point, you know, their moment together, coming to the same realization in different ways and finding each other there. For them to voice that to each other and see each other and support each other in that, it was just so strikingly beautiful to me. And they're each other's heroes. So for them to have that special moment at the end, I think is a really, really great way to close it out. There's also something really beautiful about something like a redemption, right? With Toga and Shigaraki, where they did horrible, unforgivable things, but, you know, we were trying to reach that extra mile. We were trying to save them. We were seeing them as the human beings that they are and the children that they were. And here we have, through the wisdom, I think, and the heart of Deku and Uraraka, their light, you know, the actual good things and beautiful things about their characters is somehow miraculously allowed to bear fruit into the world, so that there was some good that they did. Shigaraki telling Deku to give him hell, or however he phrased it, and Toga, I guess through blood, pushing Uraraka forward to be bold in her desires for love. Those are nice human elements that now just get to live out in reality through the two of them and, you know, whatever kids they may have. I can't properly summarize the show and all it means to me. I draw on it on a near daily basis. I mean, even just today, because I have a newborn in the house, I'm not getting a lot of sleep. So I was like, man, how am I gonna like film a video today? But then I thought like, well, it's important to me. And so if it's important to me, I'll just try to rise to the challenge of it. If I can't make a My Hero video, can I even call myself a hero? And like I said, it's so funny. It's so perfect in the context, right? Like where I was when I started the show and where I am now watching the final episode. When I started the show, I really was sort of just living for myself and drifting and adventuring. And, you know, I think over the last 6 years, I guess, wow, I've really come to learn what matters to me and what I believe in. And the person I want to be. Maybe not even always in the specifics because life is dynamic and circumstances are always changing, but in that I have a vision of an ideal, that I have a vision that there is an ideal or can be an ideal, and that it's important to focus on that, and that no one is going to do that for me. No one is going to live up to that for me. That's my responsibility. It's my task in whatever limited way I can, non-comparatively, not judgmentally, not tearing myself down because I don't meet the standard at every given moment, but always trying to keep my head up and raise my vision to whatever that thing is that I feel is beautiful and worth fighting for. To not turn a blind eye to the world or its difficulties or its pain or the failures of society, but also not to be corrupted by them, not to get bitter or jaded or hateful, not to take easy outs or give up or trade my agency, you know, the one thing I have, you know, the will to live my own life, to get the comfort of blaming something else or, you know, blaming some element of society or group or what have you, just to live my life as best I can in pursuit of the most beautiful thing I can imagine. I have no doubt that it's My Hero Academia that really helped crystallize that for me in a way that I can't unsee. These characters, this story, it is real to me in a way that transcends fiction because it taps into something that is at the heart of life. I think it will prove to be endlessly relevant, and I plan to one day hopefully rewatch this with my son when he's old enough to appreciate it. Let's just pretend this isn't the end. In the spirit of My Hero Academia, let's say that it's not about us, it's not about one single moment, but about all generations to come. This is our hero story origins, or are we at Rising by now? But now with the show having ended, I think for the fans, for the people whom it meant so much, definitely for me, this is just the beginning.